All right, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. It's Jason London from Institute for Clinical Excellence. Just checking in. I'm actually at the Bozeman Airport on my way to Toronto to Jeff Moore's cervical course, so excited about that. Coming to you a little bit earlier than normal because of that. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is that we're still in the heart of cycling season, and now we're in cyclocross season. And just wanted to talk about a few changes you might make to someone's bike fit if they're racing cyclocross. So if you're not familiar with cyclocross, it is probably the most fun sport in cycling to watch. Basically is a 2.5 to 3 kilometer track, multi-surface track with some asphalt, some dirt, some grass, and usually mud or sand, and this time of the year, at least in Bozeman, snow. And basically what the object is to see how many laps you can get in a certain span of time, which is typically an hour. So it is balls to the wall grind the whole time, and there are also obstacles which the riders have to dismount and carry their bikes over, like little hurdles, and then some punchy short hills. So in comparison to someone's road bike, especially if they have more of an aggressive fit, we're making changes to their cyclocross bike for the pure purpose of handling. So what that means is we typically want to shorten the bars or shorten the reach, so by shortening the stem by 1 to 2 centimeters over what an aggressive road bike fit would be, so they're not as stretched out and they can maneuver their body over the bottom bracket for handling. So a cyclocross ride is much more of a dynamic ride than a typical road ride, because the rider is having to maneuver their body dynamically over that bottom bracket to keep their center over their wheels over all these obstacles. So with a road bike being a much more aggressive fit typically for emphasis on aerodynamics, where the speeds with the cyclocross race typically aren't going to get to that speed where you really are going to get the benefit of aerodynamics. So we're going to shorten the reach by shortening the stem, and then also typically the bars will be a little bit wider, as well as being a little bit higher too, so not as aggressive of trunk flexion. And that's probably the main difference between a cyclocross fit and a road fit, with the addition of maybe having the saddle a little bit lower just for maneuverability, and maybe the setback just a little bit further forward. And again, looking at kind of our starting point based on the rider's inherent hamstring flexibility and lumbopelvic stability, is we want to have the knee flexion angle to determine saddle height at the bottom of the pedal stroke at 25 degrees of knee flexion. But we have a little bit of a window here, and of course we want to individualize it to the patient in front of us. So we can probably err a little bit more towards that 30 degrees of knee flexion at the bottom of the pedal stroke, so that saddle's lower, and the allowing the rider for more maneuverability, as well as greater ease of getting on and off their bike for getting over those obstacles. And then other differences, just what you'll see when they're bringing in their cyclocross bike, is the top tube is usually just a little bit longer than a traditional road bike. The bottom bracket is a little bit higher, and then of course they have knobby tires on the wheels as well. And these days too, they're going to likely have a through axle skewer, particularly for the rear hub. So making sure that you are set up in your clinic with a through axle adapter so you can actually get their bike on the trainer. So once again, a little bit brief here, but I have a plane to catch. They got the bear statue behind me, and just some changes that you can make to someone's bike fit if they're racing cyclocross to allow that increased maneuverability. Again, we want that reach to be less than it would be on an aggressive road bike fit, so definitely less than 90 degrees shoulder flexion, so a shorter stem to allow that increased maneuverability, and then having the saddle potentially just a little bit lower, more towards that 30 degrees knee flexion. But then definitely, as with all, we want to individualize that fit to the patient in front of us in terms of what their body is like, particularly with their hamstring flexibility, as well as lumbopelvic control. So everyone have a happy Friday, great Friday, good weekend, And I will be back next Friday, probably talking about Nordic skiing, since we have 1.5 feet of snow here in Bozeman, and starting to see people really getting out after it with Nordic skiing. And then West Camp is Thanksgiving weekend, so we're quickly transitioning into ski season. Thank you.